Congratulations on the purchase of your new deck by NewTechWood. Good news, after you install this deck, you're not going to have to paint it, stain it, or sand it. Ever. It's one and done. For the purposes of this video, we're going to assume you know how to cut your deck boards to the right length for your deck surface. Let's go over some general guidelines for installing the NewTechWood Natural Composite Decking. First, make sure that your joists are spaced 16 inches or 40 centimeters apart for residential decks, and 12 inches or 30 centimeters for stair treads and commercial decks. If you're installing the composite decking at an angle to the joist, please refer to our joist spacing chart, which can be found in the installation instructions or on our website. If this is a remodel of an old deck, make sure that all the joists and posts are structurally sound before installing NewTechWood deck boards. The composite decking requires a minimum support of 1.5 inches or 38 millimeters at every joist. This means you'll need to install sister joists at any butt joints and a ladder joist if you're going to use a breaker board between rows. Allow boards to acclimate at the building location by laying them straight on a flat surface for 2 days prior to installation. Make sure you have sharp carbide-tipped saw blades so that the cuts are clean. 60 teeth works best. To get the most out of your composite deck, we recommend as best practice to seal all ends, regardless if cut or not, and routed areas, with a water-based sealant. Be sure to follow all local building codes when installing the structural frame and composite decking. If using a chalk line, use only white chalk, as other colors may permanently stain the decking. When using screws, make sure you purchase screws made for composite decking. Then test the screws on a scrap piece to make sure it doesn't mushroom, like we see here. If it does, you'll need to pre-drill them at a size slightly larger than the screw. The decking should have 2 screws at every joist, with no screws closer than 1.5 inches or 38 millimeters to any edge. We recommend using screws designed for use with composite decking. NewTechWood offers 2 types of hidden fastening systems. The first is the T-clip hidden fastener system, which consists of both locking clips and expansion clips. These clips will give you approximately 1/4 inch or 6 millimeters between the deck boards. Each box contains 75 T-clips and 15 locking clips. The expansion clips allow the boards to expand and contract, while the locking clips anchor the deck board to the joist, preventing any movement. It's very important to use the correct type of clip at each joist so that the deck boards will expand and contract correctly without causing buckling or warping. We'll cover that more closely in just a minute. The second type of hidden fastening system is the mini gap system, which also consists of both locking clips and expansion clips. Note that you don't use a screw for every hole on each clip that you use for the boards. You only need 1 screw per clip. The expansion clips allow the boards to expand and contract, while the locking clips anchor the deck board to the joist, preventing any movement. These clips will give you approximately 1/16 of an inch, or 1.5 millimeters, between the boards. One box equals 50 square feet and contains 75 clips that allow lateral movement and 15 locking clips that are not sold separately. The starter clips are used on the first board, last board, and stair treads of your deck. Each box of starter clips comes with 25 clips and screws. Deciding where to put expansion clips, which allow movement, and where to put the locking clips, which don't, depends on the pattern of your deck boards. The purpose behind the 2 different types of clips is that you control which direction the boards move as they expand and contract, which they will do naturally with changes in temperature. Here are the placement patterns for some of the most common scenarios you'll come across. These locations are the same whether you're using the T-clip or mini gap fastening system. For 1 board in a row with no butt joints, your locking clips go in the center, and every other joist will have T-clips. Only one side of the locking clips have teeth, so make sure that they are correctly positioned over the board that is to be secured in place. For 2 boards in a row, your locking clips will be installed at the butt joint on both boards so that they expand away from the joint. If you have more than 2 boards in a row, the board in the middle would have locking clips at the center, and the 2 end boards would have locking clips installed at the butt joints so that they expand away from the center boards. The fourth scenario is if you install a breaker board between your rows, thus eliminating the butt joints. In this situation, your locking clips go in the center of each board, similar to the first scenario. In order to secure the breaker board, use the breaker board clip and then slide it into place. For more information, please refer to the installation instructions, where you'll find detailed diagrams illustrating the correct clip locations for a wide variety of patterns, as well as detailed gapping requirements for the end of rows. NewTechWood offers 4 different board profiles in the Ultra Shield Natural Composite Decking line. The first is the Voyager board, model UH02. One side has a straight grain texture, and the other has a wood grain texture. Either side can be facing up. This is the main board for most decks, and can only be attached with the hidden fastener system. These boards cannot be secured with screws. You can use them on stairs, but they have to be 10 inches on center. Next is the Magellan series, or model code US01. This is a solid board that can also be installed with either side, the straight grain or wood grain, facing up, using our hidden fasteners or composite deck screws. The Cortes Series, model US07 board, has a solid profile without any grooves. These boards also have a straight side and a wood grain side, and can be used as stair treads or regular deck boards, and are attached with composite deck screws. They can be routed to accommodate hidden fasteners, but should not be routed the entire length of the board. The Columbus board, model US33, is our solid board with a groove on one side for the hidden fasteners and a groove underneath for the starter clips. This board was created to make a truly screwless system on the surface of the deck. There is only one side that can be facing up with the Columbus board. It can be used as a leading edge on stair treads and as the last board at the edge of a deck. This board can be attached with our hidden fasteners or starter clips. NewTechWood also offers a fascia board that can be used around the perimeter of the deck to cover the structural framework. When planning your new deck, there are some helpful things to consider before you begin installation. You want to figure out the overall size of your deck based on the width of your deck boards and the gaps between the rows. Also consider how the last row will be installed. Will it be cantilevered over the frame, cantilevered over the fascia, or possibly butt up against the fascia? Don't cantilever your board more than 5/8 of an inch or 15 millimeters. Once you have the design and overall footprint of the deck established, compare those measurements to the structural frame. This will tell you if you'll need to rip your last row of deck boards. If so, you may want to adjust the design of the deck, the size of the structural frame, or, if you'll need to cut the last row, consider where it will look best, and then start your installation on the opposite side. If you're starting your installation up against a building or wall, snap a chalk line off the wall that will be a guide for your starter clips. A common distance for this line is 1.5 inches or 38 millimeters away from the wall. Although, these measurements could vary depending on your specific building conditions. Following the chalk line, attach a starter clip at each joist location. Then push your first board into the starter clips. If you're starting your installation on an outer edge of the deck, and it will be butted up against a fascia board, follow the same process as before to install your starter clips. But adjust the measurement of your chalk line so that you will have the correct spacing between the fascia and your first row. If you're starting at the outer edge of your deck, and the first board is going to be above the fascia, or if there is no fascia, use a Columbus Series board that has a groove routed into the bottom to accept the starter clips. Determine the location of the starter clips, keeping any cantilever at or below 5/8 of an inch or 15 millimeters. Snap a chalk line, install the starter clips, and push the first board into place. This secures the front of the board without any visible fasteners. For the T-clip system, place the clips into the groove like so, making sure to correctly place the tension clips and locking clips at their appropriate joist. Make sure the teeth of the locking clips are over the first row. Install the screws partway down into the joist. Now, press the boards tightly together as you finish screwing down the clips. Continue this process until you get to the second to last board. For the mini gap system, place the clips in the groove. Have your first board over the joist. Once all the clips are attached, bring the second board over and push it onto the clips at a 45-degree angle, then down into place. Columbus, or starter clips, exist to make the installation of the final board easier. We're going to show you how to finish off your deck with the Columbus board using both the T-clip and mini gap clip systems. First, for T-clips, screw in 2 screws to secure the clip in place on the side of the joist. That creates a lip for the Columbus board to be put in. Once in, slide the board away from the deck to engage the clip holding the board in place. Then, lay your second-to-last board in place next to the Columbus board. This will then allow you to slide your T-clips on both sides, which results in all boards being secured in place. For the mini gap system, lay your second-to-last board in place and secure it with your mini gap clips. Then, set the Columbus board in place, making sure the routed edge of the board faces the outside edge of the deck. Lift the board slightly to be able to slide the Columbus clip into place and secure it with 2 screws. If your Columbus board needs to be cut or ripped to fit, cut the inside edge and use a plunge router to provide the gaps to line up on the inside with the mini gap clips, or with the T-clips. When attaching fascia, use our fascia tool system with screws to get the pre-drilling and screwing perfect on your fascia. If you prefer to do it your own way, you must pre-drill the composite deck screw locations with holes that are larger in diameter than the composite deck screws. This will help allow for expansion and contraction of the fascia. The distance between screws should not exceed 12 inches or 30 centimeters. Use 2 screws at each location, and keep in mind that screws must be 1.5 inches or 38 millimeters away from any edge. Never attach the fascia directly to any other composite decking material. Always secure fascia directly to the structural frame. For the Voyager boards, NewTechWood offers custom end caps. To install, place some silicone sealant or any other plastic-to-plastic adhesive on the back end of the cap. Then push the cap into the holes using a rubber mallet if necessary. And there you have it, a beautiful maintenance-free customized deck that is easy to install and will last for years to come. If you have any questions, please visit our website where you'll find additional resources to make your next decking project a beautiful success.